What if the fate of an entire war could change in just a few hours? June 1942. Japan and the United States clashed for control of the Pacific. And at the heart of that battle, a single ship would become the center of Japanese hope. And of the tragedy that changed the war, the aircraft carrier Hiryū. Japan had advanced rapidly since the attack on Pearl Harbor. It controlled vast areas of the Pacific, but it knew the United States was not yet defeated. Midway was the next target. If captured, it would open the way for an offensive against Hawaii. The Japanese fleet was powerful, 4 carriers, Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryū. But the Americans had broken Japanese codes and were ready. On June 4, 1942, the battle began. First attack repelled. That morning, waves of American torpedo bombers advanced against the Japanese fleet. They were slow, fragile, and poorly protected. 0 fighters took off to intercept, turning the sky into a storm of fire. Aboard the Hiryū, sailors watched. The torpedo planes were shot down one by one, exploding into the sea. Even so, a few managed to release their weapons. "Torpedoes to starboard!" The Hiryū turned violently. The waters closed just behind her bow. No impact. For a moment, the crew believed they were under divine protection. Indecision in command. Meanwhile, Admiral Nagumo faced a dilemma. Japanese aircraft were armed with torpedoes to strike ships, but the original order was to bomb Midway's defenses. To do so, all the weapons needed to be changed. Below deck, sailors rushed, removing heavy torpedoes, bringing armor-piercing bombs. The hangars were crammed with explosives. The Japanese carriers were vulnerable. Then, a new reconnaissance message arrived. Enemy forces sighted. About 10 surface units. Nagumo hesitated. Cancel? Continue rearming? Attack the ships? The delay would prove fatal. The unexpected attack. At 10:22 a.m., fate fell from the sky. Nearly 50 American SBD Dauntless dive bombers appeared overhead. The Japanese fighters were busy down low, chasing torpedo planes. There was no defense. First, the Kaga was struck. Its crowded deck erupted into a massive fireball. Next, the Soryu exploded in a chain of blasts. Even the Akagi, Nagumo's flagship, took a fatal hit at its center. 3 carriers were lost within minutes. Only the Hiryū remained. Yamaguchi's response. In command of the Hiryū was Admiral Tomonaga Yamaguchi. Known for his courage and loyalty, he did not falter. He ordered an immediate counterattack. 24 dive bombers were launched. Despite fierce resistance from American wildcats, some broke through. At 12:20 p.m., 3 bombs struck the USS Yorktown. The American carrier was heavily damaged, but she held on. Still, Yamaguchi declared firmly, "1 carrier down, 2 to go." Tomonaga's mission. For the second strike, the chosen leader was Lieutenant Joichi Tomonaga, an experienced pilot whose plane was already damaged. He knew he would not return alive, yet he accepted the mission. At 2:30 p.m., he found the American fleet. Unaware it was still the same Yorktown, hastily repaired, he gave the order to attack. Intercepted by fighters and anti-aircraft fire, the torpedo planes were massacred. Tomonaga, engulfed in flames, managed to release his torpedo before crashing into the sea. Soon after, 2 hits struck the Yorktown again, leaving her crippled and listing. For Yamaguchi, victory still seemed possible. 2 carriers out of action, only 1 remains. The inevitable end. But hope would not last. At 5 p.m., more than 20 Dauntless bombers appeared once more. The Hiryū maneuvered desperately. The first bombs missed narrowly, but 2 landed squarely on the flight deck. 2 more blasted into the command center. Secondary explosions ripped through the hangars. The Hiryū was ablaze, out of control. Yamaguchi's sacrifice. That night, Yamaguchi gathered his officers. "I take full responsibility for the loss of the Hiryū and the Soryu. All men must abandon ship. I will remain here." Despite pleas, he stood by his decision. Captain Kaku also chose to die with the carrier. By dawn, the destroyer Makigumo launched torpedoes into the burning hulk. At 9:12 a.m. on June 5, 1942, the Hiryū slipped beneath the waves. Epilogue. Admiral Yamaguchi and Captain Kaku were posthumously honored. But with the loss of the Hiryū, Japan's offensive power at Midway was shattered. The battle marked the turning point of the Pacific War. Japan would never again regain naval supremacy. Midway was not just the fall of a single carrier. It was the day the tide of war changed forever. Call to action. Want more epic stories like this? Then hit subscribe, leave a like, and check the links in the description.